Good?
We're good.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So we've got a really fun, exciting program for you today. So our program is presented by the Sea Level Solutions Center and the Institute of Environment, along with the Department of Journalism and Media at Florida International University in partnership with the City of Miami. So this is the second of two webinars that we've done in partnership with the City of Miami. And the program was made possible by Miami-Dade County Environmental Education Program. And this is intended to help to increase awareness and knowledge about environmental issues and enhance critical thinking and problem solving to make informed decisions and take responsible actions. So my name is Tiffany Troxler. I'm Associate Professor in the Department of Earth and Environment and Director of Science of the Sea Level Solutions Center in the Institute of Environment. So thanks everyone for joining. We're going to get started with our program, and we're going to start with a quality of life poll. So Madi will share some poll questions with you, and we would be delighted if you would submit your answers. Take it away, Madi.
Thank you, Dr. Troxler. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria del Mar. I'm the Senior Program Assistant at FIU Sea Level Solutions Center. So let's go ahead and start with our poll. The first question you should be seeing on your screen right now is whether or not you're a student. So if you are a student, you can just simply click on the student answer choice, and that would pretty much prompt your poll. You can also start scrolling down. You should see about 6 questions you should be seeing on your screen. So you have a couple of minutes to answer this. The second question you should be seeing on your screen is the type of business where I work is. So select the right choice for you. If you're having any difficulty seeing this, you're welcome to use our chat feature where you can ask any questions at any time. And if you also want to submit any questions to our panelists, we recommend you use the Q&A feature, not necessarily the chat. But you're welcome to use both. So let's see. The third question you should be seeing on your screen is, what are the 3 most important things that determine your quality of life? Is it health, family and friends? Is it happiness, freedom, learning and education, religion, being outdoors, connecting with nature, work-life balance, safety or security, or a good pay or job? So that was for question number 3. All right, the fourth question you should be seeing on your screen is, what are the 3 most important concerns you have about sea level rise and flooding? There's a couple of options here. Applying science to make good decisions to address this issue, increasing threat from storm surge, impacts to property or property value. So this is a multiple choice question. You can select whatever feels right to you. And you also have a couple of minutes to answer this. And for those who are joining us on Facebook Live, we encourage you to sign up on our Zoom link. So we have bit.ly/SUST, S-U-S-T, Miami. So that would be the link to register to our Zoom. And so once you're registered through Zoom, you can participate in the polls. So for those who may be on Facebook wondering what the polls are, this is just a Zoom feature. We hope you can join us, so definitely register. The 5th question is, what are the 3 most important concerns you have about other impacts of climate change? And this is also a multiple choice, so again, go ahead and select the right answers for you. I have about 2 minutes. And the last question is, what do you think are the 3 highest priority initiatives or actions that can be done to reduce the impacts of climate change and improve your quality of life? Some of the answer choices are increase use of renewable energy, use bonds or small increase in taxes to reduce greenhouse gas emission, and finance projects to reduce climate change impacts, increase city and community initiatives that support household activities like composting, eating less meat, planting more trees, elevate buildings and other infrastructure, update codes, planning and infrastructure based on best available science. And there's a couple of other options that I will let you guys read. Take your time. I'm gonna give you 1 more minute to answer these, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at what most of us think. All right, about 58 of you have voted. Hopefully we can get to a little higher number. Let's see if we can get up to a 70%. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the poll. Go ahead and insert your last few answers. Okay. Awesome. Let's take a look at what our group thinks. So let me go ahead and share those results with you. Wow, we're at 50-50. Look at that. So 50 of us are students, 50 are not. Some of you work in the government. The 3 most important things that determine your quality of life, 83% of you said health. We have a 38% of you said happiness, and 33% said learning and education. So what are the 3 most important concerns you have about sea level rise and flooding? Most of you responded impacts to natural habitat and wildlife. What are the 3 most important concerns you have about other impacts of climate change? Most of you also answered impacts to natural habitat and wildlife. And the other answer that was selected the most was applying science to make good decisions to address these issues. What do you think are the 3 highest priority initiatives or actions that can be done to reduce impacts of climate change and improve your quality of life? 63% of you said increase use of renewable energy, and 63% also said increase city and community green infrastructure initiatives like tree planting, vegetating swells, and increased restoration of coastal habitats. So that pretty much concludes our first poll. Thanks again for those who took the time to answer.
Great. So fantastic. Thanks everyone for your participation. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Dave Dobler. He is the co-founder of volunteercleanup.org, and he is going to speak to us about how stewardship of parks and streets support water sustainability in Miami, the case of marine debris. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy New Year to those of us who celebrate Jewish New Year. And I am thrilled to be here. I've worked with a lot of these folks over the years around marine debris. And I'm just going to show you a little bit about the problems that I have seen while I'm out on the water. So again, my name is Dave Dobler. I am an accidental activist, an informal researcher, a citizen scientist, and a change maker. I'm co-founder of volunteercleanup.org. I am chair of the City of Miami Beach Sustainability Committee. And when the first poll question, are you a student or non-student, I actually was going to answer student. I'm not officially in school, but I've been learning so much as I've just been engaging with my friends in this space and just through my own exploration of Biscayne Bay. So my journey started with a day on the water. I love to paddle. I go every weekend. If I don't get out on the water, I'm kind of a grump during the week. So as I was paddling, I started finding a lot of trash, and I would pick it up. And I would collect 75+ pounds of trash from where I live in Miami Beach, just going through canals and paddling around Biscayne Bay. I would find plastic shopping bags, plastic water bottles, cigarette butts, styrofoam cups, plastic straws, basically everything that we use in our single-use disposable lifestyle culture here. And so I decided I either needed a bigger boat or I would start an organization to help bring some friends along with me. So I'll tell you about volunteer cleanup a little later, but it's an online platform that brings cleanup hosts and volunteers together to clean up their neighborhoods, waterways, and shorelines as a way to raise awareness about marine debris and encourage people to reduce their reliance on single-use plastics. We're a website. So let me show you a couple of things that I've discovered in my journey around Biscayne Bay. So my favorite drive in all of Miami is heading eastbound from the mainland on the Julia Tuttle Causeway. Going over that first bridge, you get this beautiful, expansive view of Biscayne Bay, and I always catch myself smiling as I go across because it's just this great, expansive view, and I see Miami Beach, and then I can kind of see the ocean a little bit. And along that area is some tremendous housing, right? Really, really expensive properties. And there is a little park called Albert Pallet Park. I'm going to take you there right now. It's a cool little pocket park. People walk their dogs. People play soccer in the big open space. It was recently renovated. Beautiful little park, maybe about a block long. But as you go down to the shoreline, you start seeing a tremendous amount of trash that is washed ashore. And this is mostly our trash. It's not coming from some, some underdeveloped country in the middle of the Caribbean or China. This is our stuff. And when we do cleanups there, we'll capture 300 to 500 pounds of plastic trash. And it's just an absolute mess. I took these photos myself, so they're not doctored. And we see a lot of microplastics, a lot of styrofoam, little styrofoam pieces, a lot of chopped up things that look like they've gone through a lawnmower. And let me show you another area, the iconic MacArthur Causeway. Every single movie that is made in Miami features, it has their opening screenshot going along the MacArthur Causeway. On the right-hand side, you see the cruise lines, and on the left-hand side, you see Star Island, Hibiscus Island, and so Scarface, Miami Vice, Bad Boys 2, There's Something About Mary, and Marley and Me were all filmed on this road. And this is where our guests board the cruises to get out, to go on a wonderful journey. But when they look at the shoreline, this is what they see along Government Cut. And across Star Island, which is, this like super wealthy little island where, I don't know, Oprah and whoever else owns properties, we do cleanups here all the time along the causeway and right along the rocks at the edge. And this cleanup, we picked up over 1,000 pounds of trash, which is equivalent to 2 full-size pianos. And you can just see the amount of disgusting mess that is along the causeway. This is Mayor Dan Gelber. He participated in cleanup during the election season, and we brought out 30 people, and this is what we collected. This is the mess that is along Biscayne Bay. So how is this trash getting into the bay? 80% of all of this trash is coming from land-based sources. We normally think, oh, how does this mess get here? Oh, it must be boaters partying on the islands. Well, that's true. That equates for about 20%, but about 80% of all of this comes from land-based sources, inland. And that includes street litter, trash blowing out of the trash cans, poor storm drain maintenance, and illegal dumping. And so I actually didn't know this. And I'm an FIU grad. I went to school down here in Miami-Dade County, but I did not really understand when I started this that the storm drain systems are a conduit to waterways. They basically capture water at the street level and goes through a pipe out into waterways, whether it's a canal, whether it's the bay, or whether it's directly out to the ocean. All storm drain systems lead to waterways. And so any trash that gets washed into these storm drains goes into the storm drain system. Now, there are many of these that have pollution control systems, but those pollution control systems are only effective if they're cleaned frequently. And in highly urbanized areas, that might be at once a month. But in reality, we may be cleaning our storm drain systems every 1 year, every 3 years, and in many areas in Miami-Dade County, every 5 to 7 years. So when the stormwater pollution controls are not cleaned frequently, they will either end up in the bay or they will end up clogging the storm drain systems and create flooding. So you can see here, these again are pictures that I've taken. This is a storm drain inlet on 13th and Washington in Miami Beach and MacArthur Causeway. You see all of that trash that is going to either clog our storm drain system, so our streets are going to flood, or it's going to end up in Biscayne Bay. And when pollution control systems aren't maintained, this is what you see in the middle of the storm drain systems, right? They cracked open a pipe to do some maintenance, and these are all water bottles. There's got to be at least 100 water bottles that popped out of the storm drain system. And this is one of our storm drain outfalls because this is one of our new pump stations. We had so much trash flooding in that the pollution controls continue to get overwhelmed. And so you can see all of these plastic bags that are trapped in this mesh, which is really designed to keep sea creatures from going near the storm pumps. This is not a pollution control system right here, just so happens to be. So this is an absolute mess, and it is all human created. Inland storm drains and highways lead to canal systems. This is the Biscayne Canal, otherwise known as C8, and this is just all of the trash that accumulates at these protection barriers that are designed to keep boaters away from the flood control systems. But whatever makes it past goes straight out to Biscayne Bay. In fact, you can actually go to Google, go to satellite maps, go to this area, zoom in, and there's so much trash that you can actually see it from space.
Dave, sorry to interrupt. One more minute.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So why do we care? Well, South Florida is, Biscayne Bay South Florida exists because of a vibrant and healthy marine ecosystem. If we don't protect our natural resources, we lose our value proposition. And our solutions need to focus on people, proper disposal, prevent entry, inline trapping, and waterway cleanups. And that is on time for me.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's really, really informative. Great storytelling. Okay, well, let's move into our next segment. So we're going to have a few minutes presented by each of our panelists today. And we're going to talk about what are some ongoing initiatives and how can citizens get involved. So could we start with you, Christopher? Christopher, thanks for joining us. Christopher is the Assistant Director of the Department of Resilience and Public Works at the City of Miami.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. And Dave, with my low-tech presentation, I just want to say thanks for those images. Disturbing, but also very realistic. The city of Miami being situated directly on the Biscayne Bay and above relatively shallow aquifers, the city of Miami deals with water quality issues every day. From assisting with cleanup and other mitigation efforts related to the massive fish kill event that happened recently in the Bay, along with strengthening and enforcing the city's codes for pollution prevention, as well as creating and circulating educational materials on the benefits of protecting the environment. We're always working to not only protect our water resources, but also improve them. Recognizing you have to stop pollution at the source whenever possible, we've developed outreach programs to educate people on the effect that litter and pet waste has on water quality of our rivers in the Bay. We've recently passed a fertilizer ordinance, one of the few in the area at this time, that defines the types of fertilizers that are allowed to be used and restricts allowable usage to the non-rainy months of the year as an effort to reduce toxic stormwater runoff. As Dave said, it all gets to the waterways one way or another. We're also currently working with numerous home improvement stores and landscape companies to spread the word about these new rules, so hopefully more and more folks will become compliant in the very near future. In addition to working on public outreach and code revisions, we've We have protective maintenance programs in place that are focused on keeping our waterways clean. We deploy scavenger boats to the Miami River and various other waterways on a daily basis to collect floating trash debris and also oxygenate the water. We have contractors who regularly clean the banks of the city canals. So we do see a lot of what Dave presented earlier. And we have numerous street sweepers cleaning the busiest streets on a regular basis, though we could do more, and we're working on finding a way to do more of that street sweeping because that's a great point source reduction. From big picture planning perspective, the update that we're working on for our stormwater master plan includes recommendations for hundreds of recharge wells throughout the city. And in an effort to not only help drain our rights of way during rain events, but to also help recharge the Biscayne aquifer and reduce the effects of saltwater intrusion into our main source for drinking water. We've also begun the process of updating our seawall ordinances to help combat sea level rise, and hope to bring that legislation back to commission for a second and final reading in the upcoming months. While this master plan is being developed and all these other in-house cleaning initiatives are being worked on, we've also implemented many capital construction projects to improve our environment. Projects to install curb inlet screens to filter debris on the street, replacement of an old concrete seawall with a hybrid seawall living shoreline structure at Morningside Park, and the installation of pollution control devices on various stormwater outfalls, just to name a few, are all underway or they are coming soon and already in the process of being planned. These will all help enhance not only the beauty of the city, but also the quality of the water in the bay and our rivers. In addition to these and many other efforts being performed by city staff and our contractors, we also have a robust NPDES and right-of-way inspection and enforcement program where we issue stop work orders, notices of violation, and fines whenever we find industrial properties or construction sites polluting the environment. We recognize that although much more still remains to be done, and we're working on that as we do with the folks that we're teamed up here with and many others, these efforts, along with strengthening our design standards and our construction standards, and working with developers and property owners as they redevelop their lands to require them to include additional exfiltration trenches, wells, pollution prevention devices, both on site and also in the public right-of-way as part of their permit approvals. We believe that this will go a long way, though it's just the beginning, but it will go a long way in helping protect our natural resources, our wildlife, and quite frankly, our way of life.
Super. Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. Now I'd like to introduce JP Brooker. He is the Director of Florida Conservation for the Ocean Conservancy. Thank you for joining us, JP.
Glad to be here. Can you see my screen? Can you see my slides, Maria?
Yeah, I would say just put it in presenter mode.
Yeah, you can. Okay.
We can see it.
Yep, I put it in presenter mode, so hopefully it comes up here in presenter mode. Well, I'll get started. Is it not showing?
We're good. We're good now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, very good. A little bit of a lag. So yeah, I'm JP Broker with Ocean Conservancy. I'm the director of our Florida program. And Ocean Conservancy is based in Washington, D.C., but we've had a presence in Florida for more than 30 years. That's where I'm located, and we've got an office in Miami as well on the way. We've been involved in the entire gamut of water and debris issues in Florida, whether that's water quality and abundance, whether that's ocean plastics, whether that's marine wildlife, whether that's common sense solutions for these problems that Florida is facing. But the fact is that Florida needs your help as citizens, as scientists, and as members of the nonprofit community and of the government. That I mentioned that we're facing severe water quality issues. This is a dead Goliath grouper that resulted from the 2018-2019 red tide event in Southwest Florida. But just in early August, we saw in Biscayne Bay massive fish kills due to seagrass die-off and depleted water quality and nutrient inputs in Biscayne Bay. So fish kills are becoming more common, and we need to be working to fix water quality in order to prevent them from happening further. Here's another example of a harmful algal bloom that we've been seeing. This is in the St. Lucie River, the easterly outflow of Lake Okeechobee. This is a blue-green algal bloom attributable to nutrient inputs, nitrogen and phosphorus. This is killing fish. This is fouling property and boats along the St. Lucie River and in the estuaries. And also it's having impacts all the way out to the ocean as the harmful algal blooms kind of spill out offshore. And here's Miami Beach. You know, this picture is kind of, you know, really captivated lots of folks. You know, this little octopus doesn't belong in this parking garage in Miami Beach. And how did it get there? It crawled straight up through a storm drain during a king tide event. And, you know, as sea levels rise and continue to rise due to climate change, we're going to be seeing more severe king tide events. We're going to be seeing more severe regular high tide events. And we're going to be seeing with creatures in urban settings that simply don't belong there. This is Blountstown, Florida. I'm sure most folks don't even realize this could be, but this is way up in the Panhandle, just west of the Apalachicola River. It's in the central time zone. Some folks don't even realize that Florida has 2 time zones. But this is the devastation from Hurricane Michael. It came on shore at Mexico Beach on the Gulf Coast. This is 45 miles inland, and the devastation of Hurricane Michael, you know, was capable of shearing these pine trees directly in half, 45 miles inland. As water temperatures increase, we expect to see more severe tropical weather. We expect to see more frequent tropical cyclones that are going to cause more economic damage, more damage to the Floridian culture and identity and our way of life. And finally, Dave, you know, volunteercleanup.org is a significant partner of Ocean Conservancy. We've worked with Volunteer Cleanup for a long time on the international coastal cleanup that Ocean Conservancy started in the 1980s. And, you know, we are deeply invested in trying to solve the marine debris problem that Florida is facing. And here's an example of an event that we held last November in Key West. This was a cleanup where we removed 4,000 tons of debris from mangroves just around Key West in just a few hours.
Great.
But, you know, that's
Vicky,
just a little drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. We got to move to the next presenter. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want to bring up Charles' slides, Marty? Great.
Yeah, let me unmute myself. Yeah, I'll be happy to. Charles, take it away. Let me know when to click next.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us. Charles is the Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Historic Virginia Key Beach Park.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for inviting me on this. So, you know, in terms of ongoing initiatives, I really got to start on something that happened 75 years ago. 75 years ago, on August 1st, 1945, the Virginia Key Beach Park, or at the time Virginia Beach, became the first beach for Miami's communities of color during a time of segregation. The reason I'm bringing that up is there were a few improvements that came along during that time that actually created a lasting impact. The beach has an offshore current that's about 300, 400 feet out, and it's constantly taking sand with it. So our beach is constantly eroding. So what they did in the 50s was install these big wooden structures that are called groins that actually help keep sand on the shoreline. It's a pretty low-tech way just to help keep sand for beach residents. If we did not have this, there wouldn't be a shoreline, it would be a cliff face. Now that we're facing things like obviously increasing trash as well as sea level rise and this stuff, these kinds of old school low-tech projects are now more important than ever in terms of just preserving what we have. So just wanted to touch a little bit on that. So our initiatives really started before pretty much anybody on the trust was alive, so to speak. And my next point is people. You know, the people did bring this beach to life. They did wade-in protests, they fought for what they believed in, but now we also are taking a different form of activism with environmental activism. And what I mean by that is volunteering, getting out there, just taking that next step. And with that, for the last 4 years, we've experienced an exponential growth in volunteer projects and being able to just get people out, get people active, get people to physically see increasing marine debris, see the trash that's happening on our shoreline. I know Dave touched upon it in his presentation that most of the trash comes from mainland. It doesn't come from the ocean. And that's what I see at the park every single day. So in terms of initiatives where people can get is just get out there, see this for yourself. You can look at webinars, you can go online and look at articles, but definitely getting out there and just looking at it for yourself at the beginning. Go to any beach wherever you are and just checking this out and really getting involved. With other initiatives, the park has been a consistent member of the International Ocean Coastal Cleanup, and we've been doing it for over 10 years now. Definitely, we've worked a lot with volunteer cleanup. We've had significant beach cleanup numbers. We cleaned up about 3,600 pounds of trash just from our shoreline alone last year. We had over 2,200 volunteers during that time, and it's growing, and it's something that's really nice to see. And I just want to encourage everyone to get out there and to get active and work with your local organizations and just see it all for yourself and experience it and get out there.
Great. Thank you so much, Charles. And we'll wrap it up with Dave, who's also going to tell us about what citizens can do to get involved.
Yeah, and thanks. Like, if you haven't been to historic Virginia Key Beach, it's a wonderful place. I discovered it probably about 7 years ago, and we've camped there. Most people can't camp there unless you're doing for festivals, and it's just a great piece of Miami history, and it's a beautiful, beautiful beach and park, and so highly recommend everybody gets familiar with it. So here's how you guys can get involved. I'm going to tell you two things, two very specific action items. One, stop the use of single-use plastics. Do a waste audit on yourself and what you consume, and stop accepting plastic straws. Don't use styrofoam. Use real cups instead of solo cups. Just look at your own behaviors first. That's number one. The second thing is you can join cleanups, because this is something that anybody can do regardless of whether you've got any special skills. You don't need any special tools. You need a garbage bag, some gloves, and some closed-toed shoes. That's it. So let me tell you about volunteercleanup.org, because we can help you. If you go to volunteercleanup.org, it gives you all of the information about how you can join any local cleanups that may be happening at historic Virginia Key Beach, at Albert Pallet. There's people who are hosting cleanups all the time. In the world of COVID, those cleanups are happening with 10 people or less. You can also post your own cleanup if you get involved and you want to host your own cleanup. So basically, you just go to the website. You can either find a cleanup or you can organize a cleanup. If you want to find one, you put in your zip code, and it will show you a listing of all of the cleanups that somebody else is hosting, and you can just go ahead and RSVP to one of those. If you want to organize a cleanup, you can publish your own cleanup, and we'll help you recruit volunteers. We also recommend that everybody sign up for our weekly email blast, where we will email you of any cleanups that are happening within a 15-mile radius of where you live. So to date, our website has done over 1,700 cleanups through this website, organized by individuals and groups and even us, and a lot more debris. But we are entering into my favorite time of the year, which is International Coastal Cleanup Season. So historically, this has been a single-day event where we have 45+ cleanups happening all over Miami-Dade County, but we can't get together in big groups, and so we are doing a whole lot of small cleanups, small group cleanups hosted by a professional site captain, or we're encouraging you to go do it yourself on a solo cleanup. And this is in partnership with my friend with our friends at Ocean Conservancy and JP, who does amazing work here. And so you can take a screenshot of this and you can head to volunteercleanup.org. It goes from September 19th to November 1st. We have all kinds of contests and prizes that are going on, and we will help you do coastal cleanup. And if you need, if you want to do a neighborhood, you want to do a shoreline, you want to do a waterway, if you need supplies, we will even provide them to you. So that's how you can help.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Dave. All right, so let's do a little Q&A. So we had a couple of questions that were submitted along with our registrations, and we've had a couple show up in the Q&A function. We'll get started with the questions that folks had submitted in advance. So could we start with JP? JP, can you elaborate on the impact of the boating industry and how that can potentially affect water quality in Biscayne Bay?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, there's tremendous boat traffic in Biscayne Bay, you know, being right in Miami's backyard, and Florida being the sport fishing capital of the world. People are getting out on boats all the time, and anyone in South Florida has seen the lineup at a boat ramp for sure on a weekend. Boats, you know, have a major impact on seagrass, for example. They can drive right over seagrass beds and tear up that seagrass. That seagrass has an impact on water quality by providing essential ecosystem functions that naturally filter the water and also provide habitat for creatures. Boats can also impact bigger animals like manatees. You know, we are all aware that manatees can be struck by propellers, which can seriously harm them or ultimately kill them. You know, and for, you know, boaters are going out to islands or just being out on the water, and they can, you know, throw their garbage, you know, people can accidentally let their garbage go. And that's stuff that needs to get cleaned up and can have an impact on water quality. So boaters definitely have an impact, and boaters need to be conscious of what their impact is. And, you know, we need to work to educate them.
Super. Thank you very much. Chris, let's go to you. What can we expect on the horizon as far as expanded policy to allow more rainwater harvesting for potable use for homeowners in the city?
Well, my answer may not quite satisfy the potable question because City of Miami is in Dade County, and Dade County controls the water and sewer utility. But, you know, since the city does not currently have any plans, simply put, to start requiring storage of rainwater for potable use. However, we do have some language about on-site retainage and reuse of storm water for irrigation purposes. And while potable water is more of a county issue, the city does have plans to strengthen our codes for requiring more on-site drainage retention. And we're looking into adding language into our codes for certain types of buildings that be required to retain and retreat more storm water than we already do through the use of green roofs, cisterns, and wells. So not a whole lot going on in Miami regarding potable, but we definitely recognize this. And we're also working on landscape code changes to require more Florida-friendly plantings to reduce the reliance on irrigation as well.
Okay. I imagine that's a big component of the stormwater master planning that you all are working on right now.
Yes, definitely. You know, our planning, excuse me, our planning and zoning departments are really the ones that control those parts of the code, but we work hand in hand with them as we glean data from our modeling and so forth. And we all work together to figure out what else we can do. And that's where I was going with, we're working on increasing the standards we currently require today. And I would love to see green roofs be required for all commercial buildings, but I think it'll be a little while before we can get the support of the community, especially the development community on that. But we're going to continue pushing for it.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Charles, how can we improve education and outreach about our water resources in Miami?
I'm definitely on the side of citizen science.
All right.
Yeah, like I mentioned, and you know, Dave and everybody's mentioned, just getting out there, getting active. put your education in the hands of the people that are volunteering, explaining them why we do this, why this is important, why microplastics are such a problem. And as well as just, if you do that within the education in the hands of the volunteers, that can definitely make an impact in putting this in curriculums in Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade Public Schools, and field trips, getting them out there. Once, my dream would be that once a year for a couple of days, every single school can actually go out and do a cleanup or do something like that, just so then it instills just kind of a culture, so to speak.
Mhm.
This isn't a fad. This is a lifestyle change that I really believe we should be doing. So we're setting the example, but it's in the hands of the people to really embrace this, and especially with what's happened in Biscayne Bay, it's quite an eye opener. So definitely, to improve the education and the outreach, is just put a little faith and put it in the hands of the people, the volunteers, and the people that are coming out and doing this and sharing your knowledge.
Great, thank you so much. Dave, let's go to you. What is one change we can make that will have a direct bearing on the health of our Miami Bay aquatic life?
Very simple. Eliminate the use of single-use plastics from your life as best as you can. You can just start with the very basics. Just skip the straw. Pick up trash if you see it as you're walking down the street. You can get even more hardcore like me. My shampoo comes in a bar. There's no plastic at all. So that's the number one thing that all of us can do, because it also impacts climate change as well, because single-use plastics emit carbon because they're made from petroleum products. So that's the number one thing I think we can all do as individuals.
Super, thanks, Dave. And speaking of climate change, we're referring back to some of the introductory material that JP provided to us. Chris, we had a question about the Army Corps' Back Bay plan. And the participant asks, how many homes will have to be destroyed for the Army Corps sea level rise Back Bay plan?
So I think the first thing to say is none are going to be destroyed, but I think I understand the intent of the question is, as the sea continues to rise, which homes are going to be affected regardless of this wall. The Back Bay Study's preliminary report does not call for any homes to be destroyed or abandoned. It does, however, call for the elevation of about 2,300 privately owned homes throughout the coastal areas of Dade County, including 390 in the actual city of Miami. And also calls for dry floodproofing of about 3,800 privately owned non-residential structures, which includes any condos above 3 stories. And out of that, 291 are in Miami. I think one thing that's caused a little bit of confusion or misconception, perhaps, if I'm stretching it, maybe the first draft of the report that had a wall running straight down Biscayne Boulevard, completely not even thinking about what's on the east or west side of that wall, cutting through properties and just decimating billions of dollars of property. That has changed a bit now, and I still personally believe that there's still a little bit of confusion, that there were some renderings that were recently released of the most current version of the recommendations. And in my opinion, quite frankly, those are exaggerating also what's being proposed. One thing we need to remember is that this is just a preliminary report, and we still have several years to work through the details as they are related to actual design and layout. And that time clock doesn't even start until after the September 21 deadline of when the chief engineer's report is supposed to be submitted. So I just want to urge a little bit of calmness, that the Back Bay study is a study first, and they have to make some sort of recommendation that works best for benefit cost analysis. And there will be some properties that are left on the east side of the wall, but at the same time, we also don't want this project to die, because in 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, when we have 20, 30 plus inches of sea level rise, possibly, we have a heavy hurricane come through here and we have 16 feet of storm surge. Without that wall, regardless of where it's put, we're going to have a lot more than just these 2,000 or 3,000 properties impacted. So that's what I just want to urge a little bit of caution about is how you read it and how you interpret it, and understanding that we have the ability to work with them as we go over the next 5+ years in the design phase.
Great, thanks, Chris. That's another few webinars unto itself in terms of a topic. That's for sure. So we appreciate those comments. Yeah, so I'm going to take one question from those that were submitted in the past few minutes. Sorry, and we'll try to answer the rest of these questions for you all if we haven't already, but a participant is wondering if the panelists are engaged in and supportive of the recommendations of the Biscayne Bay Task Force.
Well, I can give a couple seconds on that. City of Miami, 100%. And we know our partners in the county, as well as Miami Beach that we work with regularly. We're all not only supportive of it, but the new chief of the Bay is somebody that we're also looking forward to working with. And that's all going to be coordinated with the Biscayne Bay Task Force for sure.
Mm-hmm. Super. Thanks, everyone. Wow, what a fantastic panel. We could talk for all day long, I think, but make sure to everyone to follow up on the resources that were provided and particularly get involved in coastal cleanup this season. Really wonderful opportunity and lots of citizen science opportunities going on around town too. So all kinds of ways to get engaged. Okay, thank you very much. And so Alyssa now is going to launch into a quick poll so we can learn what we learned from our panelist discussion and presentation. Thanks,
Hi,
Alyssa.
everyone. My name is Alyssa. So I'm going to be launching a poll now. It should be similar to the first one. You should have a pop-up screen. There's a shorter quiz for, not quiz, questions, 4 questions. And so the first question reads, what are common types of marine debris in Biscayne Bay? So you have plastic shopping bags, plastic water bottles, soda bottles, lids, cigarette butts, styrofoam cups, used fishing line, and all of the above. Number 2 reads, is trash that gets into the bay primarily from land or ocean-based sources? Number 3 reads, what are some of the sources of marine debris? So we have street litter, trash blowing out of trash cans, poor storm drain maintenance, illegal dumping, and all of the above. And our last question reads, what can citizens do to sustain bay marine resources in Miami and prevent marine debris? You have spread awareness and educate family and friends, reduce consumption of single-use plastics, proper disposal again, that's a typo, waterway cleanup, and all of the above. So just make sure to submit your answers. You scroll all the way to the bottom of the poll and press submit. We have about 60%, so I'll give you guys about 30 more seconds on this. Once again, make sure to scroll to the bottom to press submit. We have 70%.
Okay, how do we do, Alyssa?
Gonna share the results right now. So for the first question, everybody put all of the above. Well, I'm sorry, 92% put all of the above. Land-based sources, 100%. All of the above, 100% for number 3. And the last one, all of the above, 88%. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Great job. Okay, so now we're going to get into the more technology piece of our program today with Dr. Susan Jacobson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Susan Jacobson, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Journalism and Media at FIU. So I'm going to share my screen. We've been working, Tiffany and I, and the Sea Level Solutions Center and the Department of Journalism. We've been working together for several years on some citizen science ventures, including these webinars, the production of these webinars. So we have produced this website, Miami Environmental Science Action Network, to host a lot of the content that we have created as a result of this work and are continuing to create. And so we have, among other things, we have upcoming webinars that we will be hosting, so you can come to the site and see it. We have some of the recordings of the webinars. And we have several interactive projects where we ask citizens to document environmental issues, elements in their neighborhood. So one of the things that we have worked on for a very long time is sea level rise. And every fall, we organize some citizen scientists to go out and take measurements of flooding during the king tides. We have some maps showing where we have been in years past with parts of some images of the kinds of flooding that they have seen. And we have done things like created, we have we have something called Miami Shade, where we put little eye buttons, which are little temperature gauges around Miami to read the daily temperatures. And so we have some data on some of the average temperatures from last summer. And so now, inspired by work by organizations such as Volunteer Cleanup, sorry, get the chat open. We're doing some more, we're doing some additional citizen science work. So let me show you one of our new projects. This is called The Observer, and I can get to it from the Meson main menu by going Projects Observer. The direct URL is meson.miami/observer. And what we're asking is people to, especially during the times of this pandemic, we're really challenging people to go out into their neighborhoods and document not just some of the issues that they might see, but some of the things that make the environmental aspects of their neighborhoods very enjoyable. So this is primarily meant to be used on your phone. It's a really big screen here because we're looking at it on my computer. But let's say you go out into your neighborhood and you see, oh, I see a nice peacock, or I see a bird that I would like to document and share with the rest of Miami. So you would tell us who you are, where you are, and select bird from our list, and then upload a photo. We have several categories here. We have some man-made items. So for example, if there's something that you want to say about a public transit location, or a swale, that's the area on the side of the road that is often used during times of flooding. And also things like clogged drains, flooding during the king tides, some of the issues that you might see. So if you go out and take some pictures and tell us what you see and tell us where you are, we're collecting this data to get a better picture of some of the environmental pluses and minuses, some of the challenges and some of the inspirational elements of living in South Florida that we plan to put together on a map. And if you download this, you will have an opportunity when you get the confirmation of sending your submission to us to tell us, to give us some feedback on this application because we're developing. So Alice and Laura, I'm looking at you. We could really use your feedback. All right. And so I wanted to make this available to you to make sure that you could, you knew about this and everybody and have the opportunity to participate, and you'll help us develop this application. Thank you, Allison. I can see your response in the chat room. All right, and once again, this the website is, oops, not Zoom, it's meson.miami, and we have a lot of our resources here. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Great, okay. So well, we have maybe 2 minutes for any quick final reflections, if any of our panelists want to chime in on any final thoughts, and then we'll close with our satisfaction survey. Okay, we're ready. It's ready for the weekend. All right. I just want to thank everyone for participating again, for the partnership of City of Miami and all of our great local NGOs, and for their participation, and Charles with the Virginia Key Historic Beach Park. So thanks everyone, and we'll just do a quick satisfaction survey, and we'll wrap it up. Take it away, Alyssa or Madi.
Awesome. Yeah, so we are doing our last poll over here. You should see on your screen. How would you rate today's webinar? Let us know your honest opinion. You can say, I enjoyed it, and gives a high five, virtual high five. Or were there some aspects that you like, but not everything? It was okay, could have been better, terrible and a waste of time. Or I don't know, and I prefer not to answer. The second question is, what would you like to participate in upcoming citizen science monitoring events, those that Dave was talking to us about, Dr. Susan Jacobson also mentioned. We would love your participation. And the last question is, do you plan to try to implement one of those activities you learned about today and record and report it using a smartphone or other device? So thanks again for everyone who took the time to join us, to answer the polls, and of course, our wonderful panelists for today's amazing webinar.
Oh, and Mari, I meant to say that, and I forgot to say, if you go to the Nissan.Miami website and you click on join us, there's a form where you can send us your contact information, and we will add you to our mailing list of events.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, and that pretty much concludes our webinar. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and wish you all a happy weekend. Take care, everyone.
Great weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. And thank you, panelists.
My pleasure.
So Charles, we should follow up on the citizen science. We've got a lot of stuff that we can contribute.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, definitely. I'd love to collaborate and, you know, work more on that. You know, I do really believe that it's really in the hands of. We can do as much as we can. We can put forth these initiatives, do cleanups, do research studies, whatever it is. But definitely, it's just up to the folks who attend to really apply these things.
Yeah.
And obviously the youth and kids, and just, yeah, creating a new culture. That's the idea.
Couldn't agree more. Well, we'll follow up. Have a super weekend. Thank you.
Hey, you too. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. I think Candice, are you there? I think you're the one that has to end the.
Yeah,
the
sorry, I
webinar.
didn't want to interrupt any of the
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure.
I'll end it right
Awesome.
now.
All
Bye,
right,
everyone.
bye, everyone.
Thanks, Candace.
Hi.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.